This is the story of a country that was colonized by not one, but two powerful empires and how they achieved their freedom. It's my home country, South Africa. Our story begins with the Dutch East India Company, who settled in South Africa in 1652 with the intention of establishing a refreshment station for ships on their passage to the east. Dutch rule would eventually be replaced by the British in the 1800s, with the British motivated by South Africa's strategic significance that they wanted to prevent from falling into French hands during the Napoleonic Wars. Both empires claimed land, imposed taxes, and enforced their laws at the expense of the indigenous population. British rule expanded segregation with devastating laws like the Natives Land Act in 1913, which made a catastrophic provision. Africans were prohibited from buying or renting land in 93% of their native South Africa. Meanwhile, the Natives Urban Areas Act of 1923 controlled the influx of black South Africans to urban areas. Essentially, these laws favoured white colonisers and their descendants and limited political and economic rights for the majority black population. When the National Party came to power in 1948, they didn't just continue segregation, they codified it into apartheid. There were two forms. Petty apartheid, which separated people in daily life, different buses, schools, restaurants, or even park benches. And then there was grand apartheid, which tried to control the entire population by stripping black South Africans of citizenship, moving them to homelands, and restricting where they could live and work. So if you listen to this episode and you're really sad and you get this thought, oh my goodness, this sounds super racist, you're absolutely spot on. That was literally the point for the apartheid government: racial separation and total control of the lives of all South Africans. There were 4 racial categories under apartheid: white, black, Indian, and coloured, a word that was used to denote mixed race people. Apartheid impacted all South Africans, but black South Africans were definitely hit the hardest. They were denied voting rights, forced into segregated areas, and barred from many jobs, equal educational opportunities, and land ownership. Apartheid created a rigid hierarchy that divided communities and, heartbreakingly, even families by race, fueling decades of resistance and devastating long-term consequences. Opposition grew over time, led by organisations like the African National Congress and the Pan-Africanist Congress, which organised protests, strikes and campaigns for international awareness. At first, the resistance was peaceful, inspired by India's successful use of passive resistance. But after the horrific Sharpeville massacre in 1960, where police opened fire on a crowd of people who were peacefully protesting against passbooks, killing 69 people, the world's attitude started to change. From there, the struggle against apartheid also became more militant, with Nelson Mandela leading Umkhonto weSizwe, or Spear of the Nation. This combined grassroots activism, political negotiation, and global pressure eventually led to apartheid's demise. By 1994, South Africa held its first fully democratic elections, ending apartheid and electing Nelson Mandela as president.